Alrighty, so this is Good Guys Gear. I've been telling you, I told you in my other videos that I was going to make a full-length video on my CZ, and I haven't done it yet because I didn't feel like I had anything to talk about. There are a million videos of people talking about how good they feel in the hand and how accurate they are and blah, 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 so you guys can watch one of those if you want to hear all that stuff. But today, my CZ solidly rounded 1,000 rounds, and my research assistant's CZ bought at the same time rounded how many?
Probably about the same.
About the same. So we've got two CZ75s in 40 Smith & Wesson. Both of them, right at around 1,000 rounds, a little bit over for sure. They are both, no hot guns, so nobody's gonna get a foot shot off or anything. So anyhow, the reason I feel like making this video today is because we more or less had a torture test. I don't know if you can see that it's raining. Well, you can see the water dripping down from the eave, but anyway, it's rained for like 6 days straight. And today we got out and we each ran just over 260 rounds.
Just over 300 rounds.
I'm sorry, just over 300 rounds each. And at this point, mine is just over 400 rounds without being cleaned, mostly that aluminum stuff. So they got muddy and nasty today. We got muddy and nasty and slid around in the dirt. Ran the guns with dirty hands. I'm not going to show you the torture test, like me stomping my gun into a mud puddle, because honestly, guys, that kind of crap is stupid. If you're relying on your weapon for a defensive purpose, if you're not willing to throw yourself on your back in a puddle of pig shit to keep your gun clean, you're probably not going to make it. So, we did not stomp our guns into the mud. He did swish his in a bucket of water at one point, just to see if he was dealing with mag failures or gun failures, which, I will say, they weren't perfect.
It helped for about 2 mags.
It did, yeah, it helped for a little bit. We had a lot of mag failures as the day went on. We were like baseball sliding into our cover points and stuff, and then sticking, we had one change in the middle of our run, one mag change, and so we'd be sticking our extra mag into our pocket, and yeah, you can see here, this is a mag after being stuck into my pocket. Now, we were swishing these out in a bucket of water after they got this bad. But we were probably 150 rounds in before we started experiencing any serious failures. Now, we weren't as dirty yet, the guns weren't as dirty yet, and the mags definitely were not as dirty yet. So, once you start getting your mags that filthy, you are going to experience some failures. It's just how it is. So, do you want to talk for a minute about what you were dealing with and what you were doing to fix it?
Well, all of my mag failures were on the first round, and for the most part, that was because I was riding down the slide. Now, if the gun was clean, you can ride the slide on a CZ75 all the way down, and it will still chamber. So it was a combination of me riding the slide and the gun being dirty. I had one failure on the first round when I actually dropped the slide, and on my runs, all of my first round failures, I just smacked the back of the slide and they chambered, and I went on and they worked just fine. The only other failure I had was once with a really dirty mag. The slide didn't lock back very well, so when I put in the new mag, it dropped on its own. It chambered the round, and I was able to run. But that's all the problems that I dealt with mine, and I actually never did swish my mags out. I just kind of cleaned them out with my finger.
But you did swish your gun at one
I did
point.
swish my gun.
But it didn't really make any conclusive...
It seemed to help for a mag or two, but I was also running some of my cleaner mags at that point.
And we have both. We've got this really filthy one is one of the factory CZ 10 rounders. And then these others are Mech-Gar 14 rounders with the extended race looking base plate. The CZ mags are not as reliable. We were running our CZ mags as our first mags, so they were the one that was going in the pocket dirty. But still, if you unload them by hand, they're way more difficult to unload than the Mech-Gars. The bullets hang up on the front of the magazine there. This is the only time I've had one do that while I was actually shooting, but my very first mag failure, the bullet just basically fed straight into the front wall of the magazine. And I was experiencing last round failures. It just got to a point, I'd swished my mag out several times, but carbon building up in it and so on and so forth, it reached a point where it was just a thing. When I got to the last round on my 10 rounder, it jammed and I had to chuck it out on the ground and go on. Now, I will say about that, as far as the reliability of the guns themselves, first off, with the mags that dirty, you know, we were loading with muddy hands, so all the ammo had either dust or little muddy water residue and stuff on it. And the inside of the mag's dirty, the follower's dirty, so the guns were getting that stuff carried up into the receiver. I mean, every round had an amount of filth on it, going into the chamber, you know, being blown all around in there, while the gun cycled. And as you can see, I mean, if you look, I don't know how well you can see in that magwell, in the video, but they're nasty and dirty, from the outside of the mags. You can see it better on mine. I never swished mine, so this is, you know, so all that crap getting carried up in there. And we quit shooting, we quit running in the mud with about 80 rounds left between us, and we switched over to a CZ mag and a Mech-Gar mag. We just shared them back and forth between the two guns. And they were clean mags that we had not had outside at all, washed our hands before loading so that we could get a real solid idea whether the failures we were dealing with had anything at all to do with the gun, or if it was just because our mags were looking like that at that point in the day. And they ran that last 80 rounds absolutely flawlessly. So
I even intentionally rode a couple rounds down, and riding them all the way down, they fed in. So it really was just mag problems.
yeah, so it's just filthy mags. And it's an unrealistic number of rounds to run. I mean, you know, 260 rounds in a situation like that, even if you're, you know, the kind of guy who's got like a load vest, are you really going to have 260 rounds on your load vest for your pistol? Probably not, and you're not going to reload mags, most likely. I mean, you're going to throw them in your drop pouch or whatever and move on, and every mag you put in is fresh and clean. So, from that standpoint, these two guns, they can be operated with nasty, filthy hands. They can be wet. Like I said, his even got swished out in a bucket of water. Have dirty mags put in them. You know, if you strip your clean mag out, but your hand is dirty and you put it in, gun's still going to run. No problems with mags dropping out. You know, push the button and they jump right out of there. So, you know, honestly, I'm really impressed. I don't care what mags you have. If they get that dirty, that number of rounds through them, that kind of carbon buildup and stuff, I don't know. If somebody wants to refute this and show me a mag working like that, that's fine, but AK mags don't work like that. So, I guess the whole point of this video is that these things are not, they're not safe queens. They're not just pretty guns that shoot like a match gun and feel good in the hand, but when you get out in the real world with dirty hands and mud and water and everything else, they don't work anymore. They ran... The guns themselves ran great, outside of the fact that we were putting nasty, filthy mags in them. And we have, most of what I shot, or all of what I shot, was this aluminum case stuff, which I know that aluminum is going to run less reliably than brass. And then here you can see what he ran through his. You've got American Eagle 165 grain, PPU 165 grain, PMC 165, Fiocchi 170, some Federal HST 180 grain, some Hornady American Gunner hollow point, and then some Barnes TAC X PD.
Now, interestingly, I ran this ammo after my gun had already started failing, and this is the only ammo that I ran after my gun started failing that never had a jam.
So that is, and I noted, if you watch my other video, actually, I shot some of that ammo as well, and in that video, I said that stuff feeds astoundingly well. It just leaps into the chamber. And so he had the same, the same result with a gun that was already filthy and mags that were already filthy. So, actually, all your hollow point was run after the gun was dirty, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, so, anyhow, you can see from our gear, this is his thing. It's all nasty and dirty, like throwing himself down. Here's my holster, which you wouldn't think that you would do that with a leather holster, and I didn't think about it getting like that when I started. So that's what the guns were going in and out of, what the mags were going in and out of. My back pocket looks pretty much like my pants, and that's where my extra mag was going. So anyhow, guys, this is my CZ video. I'm not going to give you all kind of technical stuff about the CZ, so on and so forth. You can Google it, look it up on Wikipedia to learn anything you want about the gun. But real world torture test in the rain, realistic levels of dirt, no guns stomped down into the mud or anything, but wet ammo, dirty mags, dirty guns, and like I said, some mag failure. But these are awesome guns. So if you want a metal gun, like I've said before, at this point I'm 100% confident that the CZ is a good choice. We really ran the crap out of them today, and I honestly never thought I'd run it like this, because it is such a pretty gun, and it's hard to baseball slide in the mud behind your cover and get your hands all nasty and filthy and then shoot your gun looking like a mud ball, especially when it's such a pretty gun to start with. But we did, he even swished his in water, which he apologized to it before he did. It was an emotional moment. And they ran like champs, guys. So anyhow, that's the official Good Guys Gear verdict on the CZ75 after 1,000 rounds through 2 guns, 2 different people shooting them, lots of different ammo, and today, really adverse conditions. As far as any cool gear that we have out here, mine is still super stock, absolutely nothing done to it. Metgar mags, I highly recommend these. If you're going to buy a CZ, just budget some of these in with it. Honestly, they're not that expensive guns in comparison to anything else that's anything like them. So you can buy a CZ and a stack of these things and still be cheaper than, like a SIG 226 or something. So great mags. This is a Craft holster, made in Italy. Super fine leather. Just carries the gun really well, fits really well. So these guns can be hard to find holsters for. It's not like a Glock where every gun store has 25 holster options. These are really sweet holsters if you're looking for something kind of classy. And then on his CZ, you've got the LOK or lock grip. He's got the slim grips. You can see how narrow that makes the gun. They're G10, very aggressive texture. They fit tighter than the original grips. No wobble, no clicking or wiggle or anything. And they come in three profiles. So there's this slim one with a little bit of a palm swell, and then you can get them with the full CZ rounded sides, nice big palm swell. So as far as cool gear, that's we've got this, a Blackhawk for the CZ75 that hasn't been out very long. I don't have one yet. That's his rig, but I need to get one because they're awesome. So anyhow, good guys gear. That's the deal. Go buy a CZ. Just do it. There are tons of them out there, different calibers, safeties, decockers. Neither of us has a gun with a rail on it, but you can get them with a rail on it. You can get single action only match guns, whatever. I know I sound like I'm advertising for CZ for free, and I am, because I want to share the love, and these are good guns. Do you have anything to say?
No, not really.
Okay, he's laughing at me. But anyhow, go buy a CZ, guys. The good guys gear, and I'll try to have my next video, within a reasonable amount of time. But that's it.